Last year we featured the 2019 BMW M850i xDrive Coupé, BMW's latest sports car. The range of 8 Series models has grown with a new 840i entry level, along with the M8 and M8 competition. Another addition is this. Our spotlight is on this 2020 BMW M850i Gran Coupé. With 201 millimeters more wheelbase and 2 more doors, there is a lot to go over with this 4-door coupe. We're going to be going over absolutely everything you need to know if you're in the market for a $140,000 car that does 0 to 100 kilometers in 3.7 seconds. Now this is a vehicle I have been looking forward to for a little while now. As a father, I have a 6-year-old. It's a lot easier getting into a car like this than it was last year with the 8 Series Coupe. And the other thing too, when I go to film all the interior stuff, it's way easier for me to get into the back than it was on that Coupe. I did get back there on that episode. And if you do want to see pretty much everything there is to know about the new 8 Series, you can take a look at that video. We'll have a link in the top as well as at the end of the video for you to check out absolutely everything there is to know about the M850i xDrive Coupe. But how about the Gran Coupe? Base MSRP is a lot more affordable. When I say a lot, I mean when you're looking at $120,000. The difference there really, I guess, is not a lot for buyers who can afford it. But the base MSRP is $122,100. That is $2,400 less than the Coupe and a staggering $10,400 less than the Cabriolet. We have $14,700 in options, including the $4,000 executive package, $300 for the display key. I don't know why that's not included. $500 for the high gloss black kidney grills with the side moldings there. There is no M badge on the front fenders on this model. It's interesting with BMW, it's kind of hit or miss. Some of the M Performance cars sold here in North America have it, some don't. I know in Europe they actually put it on any of the M Sport models. So in this one there is nothing on the side, which is fine. We also have the $4,900 Bowers & Wilkins Diamond Surround Sound audio system. Fantastic to have it. I'm glad they've included it. And the $1,500 M Technology package. And this is fun because this is the first car that we've tested that has the BMW Drive Recorder. You can think of the Drive Recorder as a basic version of Tesla's Sentry mode. It will record if you get into an accident, about a 20-second buffer before and 20 seconds after. You can configure that length, but 20 seconds is the most, and it will record all 4 of the cameras. You can also just automatically record it. If you hold down the panoramic view button on your Drive controller for about 3-4 seconds, it will automatically record. And again, it's always got that 20-second buffer if you set it up that way. So you could use it as a dash cam. Problem is though, you have to do it every time you need to use it. So if you see something that you want to record, you have to remember to hold down that button. And honestly, I have had some issues with it. It's hard to play back the videos on the system for some reason. It worked when I picked it up. Now it's not working so much. But if you plug in a USB stick, you can download the videos. But unlike Tesla's Sentry mode, which is essentially recording all the time, it doesn't quite do it all the time. So be curious to see, will it activate if it detects motion around the car? Probably not. That's something that Tesla's Sentry mode does. Now, what does the Gran Coupe offer to buyers over the regular 2-door version of the 8 Series? Well, as I mentioned, it is 201 millimeters longer when it comes to the wheelbase. That is a huge improvement. In fact, it is pretty much the same length as a short wheelbase 7 Series. The overall length of the 8 Series Gran Coupe has improved by 231 millimeters. The rear end is 30.5 millimeters wider, and BMW also says that this is the widest track of any production vehicle that they have produced so far. 28 millimeters wider for that rear track on the rear axle. So the booty on this is big. The overall height has also improved by 56 millimeters, so it does sit a little bit higher. You have more headroom in the front and substantially more in the back. We'll talk about that in a second. A couple of the things that you get now with the Gran Coupe, it adds 4-zone automatic climate control in the rear with center armrest, USB-C adapters back there, and substantially more legroom, along with integrated headrests for those rear seats. Side window power sunshades, they pop out of the top and roll up because this is a coupe style car. They are frameless windows, so it does work with that. And BMW has also added a panoramic sunroof to this, the dual setup where there's one in the front, one in the back. Driver can control both, and the rear passengers can control either the sunshades or the rear sunshade or that power sunroof. BMW also says that the stitching on the back contours around the outer seats and it replicates the look of the front seats. Now we do have black seating on this with the mineral white metallic paint. It is a BMW individual black full merino leather setup. Personally, I would like some color with this, especially in the winter. You kind of lose the car in all the snow, but white on black probably works for a lot of people. Me personally, get some color going in there. Another feature that BMW has added to the 8 Series for 2020 is soft closed doors. That was something that was lacking on the Coupe, so now you get it on this. It's a nice feature to have, especially at this price point. It is not a cheap car, so having features like that do help. Now, despite all of this added stuff, more doors, more windows, BMW says they've only added 70 kilograms to the overall weight of the 8 Series Gran Coupe over the regular Coupe, which means it still does that 0 to 100 kilometer time in 3.7 seconds. Now, 2 years ago, we featured the M760Li, and when I featured that car, BMW said that it was the fastest production car they ever made at 3.8 seconds. In that time, 6 vehicles have become faster than that 7 Series. The fastest production car BMW currently makes is the M8 competition. We'll do 0 to 100 in 3.2 seconds, followed by the M5 competition at 3.3, the regular M8 at 3.3 seconds, the regular M5 at 3.4 seconds, and then the Alpina B7 is at 3.6. So this is the 6th fastest vehicle BMW produces, and it is 0.4 of a second faster than that X3M competition we featured last week. So this is a very quick vehicle. You feel it. And this is one of the reasons why the 8 Series exists and why it does sell pretty well, because it does feel like a proper sports car. The M850i that we featured was great, but it was kind of a mix between a sports car and a proper luxury sedan. You felt comfortable, but with this, I mean, you're still comfortable, but it feels much more sporty, which is one of the reasons why this is actually sold pretty well. Not maybe so much here in Canada. For 2019, the 8 Series only sold 264 units. If you compare that to the direct competitor, as far as I'm concerned, both for the 8 Series and the Gran Coupe, the Mercedes-AMG GT, that includes the AMG GT 53 four-door, which I would say competes directly on this on price. Mercedes sold 424 of those in Canada last year. So they sold almost double over BMW, but if you look at the States, it's very interesting. In 2019, the 8 Series sold 4,410 units in the US, whereas the Mercedes-AMG GT only sold 4,048 units. The thing is, though, when we look at that AMG GT compared to this, it is different, because the 8 Series Gran Coupe, it's an 8 Series. It's a true 8 Series built on the same platform. They've just widened it and made everything else the same. But when it comes to the AMG GT, the two-door version, it's an AMG GT. But the AMG GT four-door version is actually based on the Mercedes E-Class and the CLS class. So it's technically a different vehicle that they've badged as the four-door version of that GT. And for me personally, when I look at the specs and the pricing and everything, the direct competitor to this M850i Gran Coupe would be a 2020 Mercedes-AMG GT 53 4MATIC Plus four-door coupe. The base MSRP for that is $118,600 Canadian, and you can get it equipped pretty much the same way. I mean, obviously it's different stuff, but you can get it equipped about the same for about $138,000 Canadian. However, the power is quite different. Only 429 horsepower, 384 pound-feet of torque, and it will do 0 to 100 kilometers in 4.5 seconds. You go up to the AMG GT 63 4MATIC Plus four-door coupe, it's adding a lot more cost and you're getting more power out of it, and that's a proper AMG, whereas this is an M performance car. So there really is no absolute direct competitor to it. Some might say also that the Porsche Panamera might be a competitor to this. The Panamera, though, is not quite the same. It's a four-door coupe kind of look, and it has a similar design. So I suppose just by looking at it, it could be comparable, but that actually sold much better in Canada and the US than the MB GT and this 8 Series. So I told you the interior dimensions have improved quite a bit. Front headroom is up 5 millimeters over the 8 Series Coupe. Rear headroom is up 86 millimeters, quite a big difference, so an adult can get back there. The rear legroom is up 180 millimeters, and the rear shoulder room actually gets the biggest upgrade, 195 millimeters more room for your shoulders back there. There are 3 seat belts in the back. I don't know who would really want to be straddling that center console, but the option is there. And with all of these changes, BMW has also improved the trunk capacity by 20 liters. So you get a lot. And the fact that this is actually a more affordable entry-level price over the regular coupe and quite a bit more over the cabriolet is a great thing. So if you like the look of it, this is the way to go. And I have to say, I've really started to come to like the look of this. The back end's fantastic. Even with all the black accents on this, instead of BMW's M Performance grille and mirror caps, it looks really good. And people know that you've arrived. I know that the 8 Series is off to a slower start for us here in Canada, but I think it's a really great car and it performs so darn well. So let's jump in now. We'll talk about how the 4-door version compares to the 2-door version that we drove before, and also kind of how it compares to that X3M competition. Even though pricing is quite different, it could still be something that some might consider because this is faster. If you're looking for ultimate performance, this is quicker. So let's jump in now and go over everything else you need to know about the 2020 M850i xDrive Gran Coupe. Now, I hope you've already watched our episode on the 2020 X3M competition, either because you're a fan of my show, you like to watch every episode, or you're a fan of BMW vehicles and you just like to see what's out there, or you just like these performance vehicles, and again, you would have seen it, because I want to go over how this car differs from that X3. And I also want to apologize because in that video, when we did our launch, I did not use launch control. And you can tell, I mean, the car didn't really get off the line as quick as it could have. I can't use launch control right now either because the car isn't really warmed up yet. You have to drive for 10 kilometers or 6 miles uninterrupted in order for it to do launch control. I just can't do that right now. I gotta film. But you really don't need launch control because this thing is so quick. If you really just put your foot down and go, holy crap. 100. Holy man, 3.7 seconds. Holy, this car is really, really quick. Way quicker than that X3M competition. And it's weird because it shouldn't be quicker because it's not an M car. But this is so fast and it performs really well. It's why this is BMW's top-end sports car. It's not a luxury sedan, I mean, it's a luxury sports car, but it performs. Oh man, like it's just incredible. And I had the same experience when we drove the Coupe last year. It performs and handles really, really well. Even on these crappy roads, this car goes right into it and you feel it. And it's one of the reasons why you would buy this over the M850i if you want a sports car. If you want a really quick sedan, go for the 5 Series. But you want something a little different, you want something that just excites you, gets your blood pumping, and makes you want to go, then the 8 Series might be the way to go. Now, I know it's a lot more money, but man, you're getting a lot of car for that price. I mean, it just performs beautifully. It's a true machine. It really is, as far as I'm concerned, the ultimate driving machine. If you want to drive and enjoy it, this is the way to go. Now, we did that launch in full Sport Plus mode with the transmission in Sport manual mode. I've gone back into automatic Sport transmission mode just because I don't really want to be dealing with shifting as I'm talking to you and explaining how this car is. But it goes, and you heard it, and it sounds great. The crackle coming out of the exhaust, great stuff. I've set this car up so that it's always in the performance setting for the exhaust. You can go into iDrive and make those changes. But that's really the way that you should be driving this car. If you've got it in balanced mode, I mean, you're just not getting the most that you could out of the M850i. Now, compared to that X3, the suspension is a little softer. I mean, I'm still feeling a little stiff in here just because the seats are relatively stiff and the suspension is firm, but you could put it into comfort mode. Unlike the 7 Series, you don't have Comfort Plus, just regular comfort mode. But honestly, I mean, the whole point of driving the M850i is to keep it in sport mode, and that's the way that I have been enjoying it this week. Sure, fuel economy is suffering tremendously because of that, but man, what an experience it is to drive this car for a week. I really do like the 4-door version of this, and it's kind of gotten me excited again about the 8 Series. You look back at the video we did on the E31, it's a nice car. It's a V12, red, especially the one that we had. But it didn't really go very quick. That's back when BMW wanted to make a comfortable Grand Tourer, and this is still comfortable, but with the performance, you kind of get everything. And then if you really wanted to go up to the M8 competition, skip the M8. I know it's still quicker than this, but like we talked about with the X3 M competition, now that BMW is starting to add these competitions as actual models, kind of makes more sense to go all the way up to the top if you're in the market for it. But this is still a really good all-round daily driver. I find the visibility is pretty good out of it. Rear window is functional. You can put the sunshade down if you wanted it to. Windows are at a good level and they're a good size, so you really can see out of it. My daughter is comfortable in the back. I do fit back there, as you can see on our lovely B-roll. I do fit back there, and with the added headroom that comes with the Gran Coupe, it's a lot more livable on a daily basis. Depends on what you want out of the car though. If you still want the two-door, go for that. But if you're like me, you have a family, and you still want to go like hell, then the Gran Coupe is available. And I just like them. I mean, I've always liked these versions, even though it kind of always is the four-door version of a two-door version of a four-door car. In this case, it's not a two-door 7 Series. You have to really still think of this as the 5 Series Coupe, and then they've added the extra doors onto it. But it just feels so different from the 5 Series, and that's the whole point. Ooh, you can hear it. Give it some gas, and then you let go and it crackles. Beautiful. People keep turning their heads because they're curious what's going on. Who's making all that ruckus? It's me. Hello. Now, we also like to talk about tires on this show, especially in the winter. We have the opportunity to test these cars. It's not snowing today. It's not snowing this week, so I can't do any real winter testing with this car. But I mentioned in our X3M competition video that we had Pirelli Scorpion tires. These are just Pirelli Soto 03s, and you can feel the difference. Yesterday, it wasn't really snowing, but I mean, there was crap on the road, and I was pushing it a little bit, and the car would fishtail just ever so slightly. It would just lose traction on the rear end and correct itself within half a second. But the X3 on those Scorpions, flawless control. So one of the things that I always mention is to make sure you get the right tires. In this case, they work. If you're not pushing into the winter, you want something safe, affordable enough, but still has that performance and grip that you want, then the Soto 03s are the way to go. But if you just want to have that extra little bit of confidence, you want to make sure that you have total control, then I would go up to the Scorpions. I'm not really sure what the price difference would be on this, but they are going to be more expensive, but that would be my recommendation. We have tested Pirellis on all the BMWs that we've driven in the winter, and the Scorpions do perform noticeably better. Oh yeah. Man, this thing is fast. It truly is incredible how much progress BMW has made in 2 years since we first featured the M760Li. I mean, the fact that there are 6 vehicles in their portfolio that are faster than that car now, it's truly fantastic. We're getting to the point now where we're going to start seeing under 3-second cars when it comes to 0 to 100. I mean, 3.2 for the M8 competition is pretty darn quick. Now, yeah, you can argue that the electrics will do it faster, but I mean, there's something about having a twin-turbo V8. 4.4 liters seems to be the perfect spot that BMW likes to be at for their V8s, and man, it just gives you that excitement that you just don't get from a whisper-quiet electric car. Let's go over the fuel economy and how it compared to the Coupe that we drove last year. We completed our 100-kilometer test loop in Eco Pro mode in 8.5 liters per 100 kilometers, or 27.7 US miles per gallon. That's up a bit from the 8.3 liters per 100 kilometers we did in the Coupe. We completed our 752-kilometer week exclusively in Sport Plus mode minus our test loop in 15.8 liters per 100 kilometers, or 14.9 mpg. We did 13.8 liters per 100 kilometers in the Coupe last year, but we also drove an extra 300 kilometers with it, and it was in April with warmer temperatures. With that said though, the Gran Coupe is a solid sports car. The performance out of the 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8 is fantastic, giving the world the fastest M-performance car in a package that works as a family driver. The handling and ride of the 8 Series is also one of the reasons you'll appreciate this car so much. It truly handles like it's on rails, even if the Soto Zero tires don't grip as well in the snow as the Pirelli Scorpions. Interior space is great on the Gran Coupé, giving adult space in the back. At 6 foot, I was snug, but I would be fine on longer distance trips over the two-door. The exhaust sound from the M850i is still one of my favorites. It crackles and pops beautifully, and paired with that legendary V8 makes it feel like a proper sports car. And the final thing that really sold me on this was the suite of technology offered. The Bowers & Wilkins Diamond Surround sound system sounded phenomenal. iDrive is still the best luxury infotainment system, and the advanced driving tech worked when I wanted to hand over partial control to Skynet, and the Live Cockpit Professional provides you with the information you need when you need it. Dislikes feel more like nitpicking, but there's always room for improvement. I still don't see any difference in nighttime visibility with the laser lights, but they're included no matter what. The BMW Drive Recorder should really offer better quality video and have a larger buffer to access. You saw our clips, they exported as 1280 by 960 MPEG videos. You can't even make out the license plates on slow moving vehicles with it. Aside from that, the 2020 BMW M850i xDrive Gran Coupé is a seriously good car. It's faster than the Mercedes-AMG GT53 4MATIC Plus 4-door coupe, handles better than the M850i xDrive, and costs quite a bit less than an M8 competition, and still gets you to 100 km an hour faster than the police can ask you, "Do you know how fast I caught you going back there?"